Hi, it's Mark from Mark of the Cyberbeast coming to you with a sunrise post-workout drop of the day. So I figured I usually shoot the videos in the afternoon. Why not do one kind of after a workout, just after sunrise. Sunrise is beautiful, but I'm also at the gym. So maybe on the weekend I'll shoot a sunrise one. This is post-sunrise around 7:30 here in the Keys. Want to talk today about the new E41. Now you've heard about the E41. What is the E41 and why do we care? Well, E41 is not ethanol-based 41 octane gas, if that's what you're thinking. No. E41 is a code name that Tesla gave to their new low-price sub $35,000 EV. Now, when I say sub $35,000, I'm splitting hairs. It's $10 under it. It's $34,990. For those of you who don't know, the cheapest Model Y you can get, I think it's the long range it's called, it's $44,990. So this is about $10,000 less, okay? Now, to get that Model Y down $10,000, to try to get into that market where Tesla's gunning for the Toyota Corolla Hybrid, the Hyundai Ioniq, these are all in that same type of price range that they're going after, because there's that jump, you know, $35,000 to $45,000, that's a $10,000 stretch that most people, it's a lot to ask to spend that extra money, okay? So Tesla wanted to come in with a lower priced EV. They've talked about this for several months, maybe even almost a year now. And rather than retool a whole new version, you've heard people say, well, it's a Model Q, it's a Model 2, it's an E41. Okay, now the E41 is about I think they said about a 5 to 10% smaller version of the Model Y. They're trying to take about 20% of the cost off the vehicle. They're going to be making this in Shanghai first, I believe, and then making it in Fremont, California for sale in the US. Now, in China, they have to compete on price with some of these other manufacturers like BYD and so forth. So what they're going to do is push it out there, but also they want to get the US market, these people who want that low price EV. And they're doing this because we just had an episode last week on the BBB, the big, beautiful bill, removes the EV tax credits. So there goes $7,500 for most people. Again, you have to make a certain amount of money to get that tax credit. You have to realize that $7,500 tax credit is going away. Some of the states, though, still have some state tax credits, so don't despair. But with that $7,500 tax credit going away, that $44,000, we'll call it $45,000, $44,990, drops it down to $37,000. Okay, so this is going to be a $35,000 EV without any tax credits. And that is why it's not coming out until later this year, really the end of this year, and maybe even the start of 2026. Because the EV tax credits go until, as we said, the end of September. They do not want this to compete with the $45,000 Model Ys. They're strictly trying not to compete with themselves, which is a really smart thing to do. But there has been just such a long delay in this inexpensive EV. And what kind of irks me a bit is this inexpensive EP mindset, okay? A lot of people, and when I say a lot of people, I'm saying 80 to 90% of people do not understand the difference between price versus cost. Now, hang on to this, don't go fading out of this episode, going on to some other YouTube bit, watching Joe Rogan and All In podcast. No, you stay here. We're going to talk about what's in the E41, but I have to talk to you first about price and cost. Now, many people do not understand this, okay? Maybe you don't. I don't know. But there is a big difference between price versus cost. So I'll give you an example. What does a boat cost? Well, that's different than what is the price of a boat. So let's say I'm down here in the Keys. I want to go out and buy a boat. That boat is $100,000. That is the price of the boat. I go into a dealership, I give them $100,000, I get a boat. That is the price of the boat. That is not the cost of it. Now I get that boat home. First thing I have to do is I have to, number one, get insurance for it. So that might be $1,500 a year. have to gas it up. So, you know, maybe it's $300 to put a full tank of gas in there. That's $300. I might need a place to store it. That's $200 a month. I take the boat out. I need to get a couple 6-packs of beer, maybe a case of beer if I'm thirsty. I might need to get some pub subs to take with me. That's $50, $100, $200. I might want to get some tubes to pull. I might want to get some floaties, okay? That's another couple $100. I might need to get an anchor and other things at West Marine. That's more hundreds of dollars. So and every year, for instance, I might add more boat parts. I'm going to go through more beer, more pub subs. I'm going to need to replace my insurance every year. Every month I need storage. So the cost, the ongoing cost of that boat is not $100,000. It's probably $20,000, $25,000 a year. This is why most people in our country are so in debt. They do not understand ongoing cost. That motor needs to get serviced in that boat. Okay, you need oil changes, you need tune-ups. Something goes wrong with it. You bend a prop because you run over something here in the Keys because there's a lot of shallow spots. So people don't understand price versus cost. They spend $100,000 on a boat and they don't have the $20,000 to really run the boat. So that's where they get into trouble. So with a car, it's the same thing. These people think, well, I'm gonna get a Corolla hybrid, okay? And that's great, but you're still putting gas in the car. You're still doing oil changes. You're still doing tune-ups, okay? All the things you're doing with a gas-powered vehicle, plus you're charging it up, okay? Whereas the Hyundai Ioniq, it's an EV, just like the E41 or the Model Y, and that's where you're going to have a lower cost of ownership with that EV. Like you guys know, you guys know the difference between price versus cost. It's those other idiots who stumble onto my channel I have to explain this to. So, that being said, Tesla needed to come out with something in that price range because some people just can't get loans past, you know, $35,000, $40,000. Totally get that. Now, what do they get with this E41? Well, this E41, they had to cut costs. So they really trimmed things down, I hate to say it. Number one thing they had to do, take away that glass roof. It's gonna be a solid roof now. Now, for many of you, like my wife, who's very fair skinned, that's actually a plus. My wife hates the glass roof because she always has to block it and cover it up because she gets too much sun and she gets burned. So the solid roof may not be a negative for a lot of people. The vegan seats, I should say, you know, the faux leather seats, they're going away with being replaced with fabric cloth seating, okay? The rear seats, since we're talking about seats, are gonna be manual, not mechanical, motorized seats. The seats in the front, and actually in the back too, are not gonna be heated or cooled. It's strictly regular seats. The AC unit isn't exactly the same as the traditional Model Y and the rest of the Teslas where you can change the flow where it comes out. It's just a straight, it shoots out one direction, on or off for 5 different, whatever variables and so forth. So you don't get to move the direction of it like you do with your Cybertruck. There is no towing option on this, so you cannot tow. For many people, NBD, no big deal. They don't tow anyway. A couple other things, no light bar in the front or rear. Traditional headlights only. Speaking of lighting, interior. There is no fancy-dancy ambient lighting. There's just the regular white ambient lighting. No, you know, dancing colors, changing colors, blah, 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 blah. So, you get away with it, you don't have that. The battery is reduced to a 50 to 55 kilowatt hour battery, which still gets you 300 to 330 miles of range, which is still in the same range as our Cybertrucks. Even though, Elon, we were promised 500 miles 6 years ago. Get it, and we got 300. So 300 to 330 mile range in these batteries, not the end of the world, really, really nice. A couple other things, tires. So the Y comes with normally 20 and 21 inch wheels. This will be 19 inch, but thankfully it's not bicycle tires, okay? It's 19 inch, so it's not the end of the world there with that. It's gonna be a single motor version, which means 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds. You know what? for that price, who cares? I mean, 6 seconds, think about it. We're spoiled a bit. 0 to 60 in 6 seconds is not the end of the world. I mean, if you think about someone my age, maybe someone like me who graduated high school in 1986, 0 to 60 in 6 seconds was actually pretty darn impressive. So not the end of the world as far as speed. That being said, any other changes with the vehicle? You're still gonna have the same 6 colors with the Model Y that are the standard colors. No word is if you can do an upcharge on some of the premium colors though. Obviously no spare tire. I think it's just a patch kit. Let's see. Oh, you are going to have premium connectivity for a fee, obviously. You're still going to have autopilot, and you're still going to have the hardware for FSD, but you're going to have to pay that monthly fee for the FSD. But they want to get people on that, and you guys should be on it too. So that's going to be a part of it. You're still going to have the 17-inch screen, but in the back seat, you're not going to have that small display for the back people to watch the screen. But as you know, as I reviewed my wife's Model 3, guess what? You can always get a third-party one and drop in there probably. We don't know for sure, but probably you can get a screen. And those are only like 500 bucks. So if you really want that for the kiddos, you can do that. Let's see what else. It does have seat belts. It does have a steering wheel. So you can drive it. You can drive it safely. It'll still be a safe vehicle. And while Elon did cut out all the extras, okay, he did leave the 2 windshield wipers. So you don't have to come out of your driver's side window with a squeegee when it rains and take the water off of the windshield. So it's not that budget friendly. I mean, they did leave windshield wipers on there. Top speed should be about 120 miles an hour. You're still gonna have a frunk. It's probably not gonna be powered, we'll see. You obviously still have the trunk. You're going to lose some storage with that 5 to 10% space. But again, they had to get this price down 20%. And to get a vehicle down in price 20% is huge. I mean, that's a lot of work for them to do. The other thing was speakers. I don't know if I mentioned this. The Y, I believe, had like 15 or 18 speakers, something like that. It's been reduced to 9, almost in half. But honestly, it's probably still going to sound kick-ass compared to any other car because, as you know, we've got the best sound systems of any vehicle. You're still going to have all the functionality in the UI of Tesla that you've seen with all the other vehicles, with that nice big screen, that big touch screen that they make for you. So I think it's going to be a big seller. I think the low-price Cybertruck was a bit of a stretch. Has its niche, I think, but it's going to be a hard sell for that. This is not going to be a hard sell. The thing is, they're going to have to explain to people price versus cost, why it's a better deal than the Toyota Corolla, because as you know, it knocked Toyota out of the best-selling vehicle with the Model Y, and I think this is going to really obliterate sales in the Corolla if marketing could do its job, if we could explain to people price versus cost, and this E41, the super secret E41. Now, again, it's a stripped down version, not the end of the world though. You're not gonna have to do a Fred Flintstone and actually power it with your feet where, like he used to, remember Fred Flintstone, the car? He powered it with his feet. It's actually gonna be a working vehicle. For $35,000, how much cheaper do you think you can make these things, guys? I mean, this isn't a Yugo. Remember the Yugos? They were like $8,000. And then if you needed to get it fixed, it was pretty much totaled because you couldn't get parts for it. The parts were expensive. If you're not that old to remember what a Yugo is, then never mind. So that being said, that is today's Sunrise episode here in the Keys. And Thursday, we're starting at Key Largo. We have a couple spots lined up. I've talked to a bunch of people who are going into their places and going to show you some really neat places to stop. We're starting in Key Largo. Then we're going to go do Tavernier and Alamorada. But Key Largo is going to be a really, really cool stop. We've got a bunch of places to stop by and FSD along the way, as well as charge, because as you guys come to the Keys from the mainland of Florida, you may need to get some battery when you come across that 18-mile stretch of Blue Highway. I'm going to show you the closest places to charge. Some are free and some are for a fee. So, lots of good information. Folks, I need you. I need you. Hit like, hit comment, make a comment. Don't just hit a comment, make a comment. Subscribe, tell your friends. And remember, E41, new secret coming out later this year. We're gonna see where it goes. I think it's got much better hopes and aspirations than that cheap Cybertruck that it came out with. We'll see. We'll see who's wrong, who's right. I think I'm right. Who knows? Folks, see you tomorrow.